Well, good evening, everybody. It's Friday, the 15th of January, and this is John Unell, aka John I Fly. I hope everybody had a great week, because we had a hell of a week, I'll tell you that much. Tonight, I want to just talk about the House Rules Committee meeting that they had this past week. And they were debating on the 25th Amendment, whether Mike Pence should do his part and recommend that Donald Trump be removed from office. And of course, as it turned out, it's hindsight now, Mike Pence didn't want to do that. So they decided to let the impeachment process take place, and Nancy was happy to oblige them. So, yeah, Trump was impeached on Wednesday, 232 yeas to 197 nays. So Donnie Trump made history. Maybe not the way he wanted to, but he made history as the first president to be impeached twice. I love it. And he only has himself to blame. But that's another topic altogether. Anyway, they debated about that, and Representative Jim McGovern was the House Rules Chair. And anyway, during the process, they had Jim Jordan from Ohio. He happened to make his opinions known. Of course, I could care less about what he thinks, but he's a loudmouth. You know, Republican from Ohio on the House side. And he thinks, of course, that the impeachment's divisive in nature. It's like, man, we ought to be worried about getting the new president in and blah, blah, blah. Well, anyway, it led to this question that the chair had. And Jim McGovern asked Jim Jordan, he goes, are you willing to set the record straight right now? Are you willing to just say fair and square that Joe Biden won the elections? And what did Jim Jordan say? Well, I recognize he's going to be the next president. Excuse me. And the chair had to ask him again, that's not the question I ask you. Are you willing to admit now and put all this stuff to rest, and let's get the nation to heal by sitting there and saying or admitting that Joe Biden won the election fair and square? Would you believe Jim Jordan wouldn't admit to that? Well, he's going to be the next president. So he sidestepped the question. Why? Because he doesn't want to admit that the fact is that the nation elected Joe Biden and Kamala Harris as president and vice president. I don't know what the big deal is. I mean, do they hate Biden that much? Is that the problem? Or are they just, hey, let's follow the dear leader? You ever remember that? I don't know if it was a nursery rhyme or a little poem or something for kids years ago. Follow the leader. Well, in this case, they're following the dear leader. Okay? Well, there had to be. Jim Jordan, his whole idea is I think there should be a committee made and that Congress and people should investigate what went on. Well, what's there to investigate, Jim Jordan? Come on, give me a break. There's nothing to investigate. The elections, I mean, think about it, people. I mean, you know, Donald Trump had the right to contest the election the first time, you know, and they had a recount. And then after the recount, they found out, oh, Joe Biden still came out on top. But then Trump had to come up with something else. No, there's got to be something wrong. It's rigged, I tell you. They had other recounts. I think they must have had at least 3 recounts. They took it to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court, I don't even think they didn't even try it. They just threw it out. The voters, the American voters, they voted fair and square. Joe Biden's going to be the next president and Kamala Harris is going to be the next vice president. You can sit there and rant and rave all you want to, okay? But the facts are facts. But of course their dear leader, Donald Trump, he doesn't like to face facts. Okay? But this is it. And it's interesting too, the House Minority Leader, Kevin McCarthy, he's also opposed to not only the impeachment, but the 25th Amendment. Well, they want to hang on to Donald Trump for whatever reason. I don't know. You know, it's like black and white people, you know? It's in front of their very faces. I mean, what's there to... I mean, why would you sit there and still want the man into office? Did Donald Trump do something for you, maybe? Did he give you some tax breaks? Or he had to do something. It makes no sense to sit there after the guy, and now he's been impeached. The evidence is clear, and the American people, any American that was watching TV last Wednesday or the 2 Wednesdays ago, whatever, the 6th, and saw the speech that Donald Trump gave, and I'm telling you, it wasn't just a speech. It was a call to arms, basically. Let's go down. Well, march down the avenue with you, and I think it was Constitutional Avenue, where he says, we're going to march to the Capitol. I'll be there with you. Yeah, okay. And we're going to help out those Republicans that are too weak. They need the help, not the strong Republicans. And then Donnie said that, well, you got to take your country back. You got to be strong to take your country back. Now, to me, that sounds to me like he's egging them on. Now, he comes out later on and says, well, I didn't encourage them to do violence. You see, Donald Trump's the type of person, he doesn't want to accept blame for anything, okay? He'll incite them up to a certain point, okay? Well, and then you bring him right up to that line, and he'll say, okay. Then he went back to the White House and watched it on television, you know? And if it wasn't for his aides telling him, you better make a speech and correct what was your last speech because you're going to be in trouble. Well, he's in trouble regardless. But that's how Donnie operates. I don't want to accept the blame. So he'll incite riots. He'll work the people up his base, his minions, whatever. He'll work them up to a certain fever pitch. And then he'll just tiptoe away. Oh, I didn't tell him to do that. I didn't tell him to go into the Capitol and commit violence. But he didn't stop them either, did he? Well, anyway. That's how Donnie operates. But, and also, now this was on the 12th of January. I meant to do this rant on the 12th, and it just didn't seem to work out that way. But I figured I wanted to get it done for the end of the week here because all this fun stuff happened this week. But I know on the 12th, I have notated here, it says President Trump, he still said that the election was stolen. See, this is the shit that he does. He'll come out and say such stupid statements. Oh, the election was stolen. Well, what do you think the American people, or his base, I can't say that all of the American people believe him now. If they do, they're more stupid than I thought. But he'll say it was stolen. Well, that's a harsh word to use. Stolen. Well, what are you going to think? You know, that's like if I had a business and I had merchandise and somebody stole something and I didn't know about it, and somebody comes in and says, "Do you know so-and-so stole something out of your store?" You know, now, of course, you need to have evidence. But Donnie knows that there are people out there, especially in his base, that are highly emotional. If he comes out and says, well, this election was rigged, they stole it from you, he knows that's going to get his people worked up. And that's what he does. So he can't sit there and say, well, I did not stir up the violence. He did. I can't understand why he understands. He has to know what he's doing. He knows what he's doing. So I can't go for that bullshit that he says. But another thing that I find interesting with Jim Jordan, I think he's trying to, of course, be the star of the Republican Party. But he said this in the I believe it was the impeachment hearing, and he said it in the House Rules Committee meeting. He goes, "Oh, ever since Donald Trump came in, they wanted to impeach." I mean, like a day or two after Donald Trump became president, the Wall Street Journal came out and said, "Oh, the impeachment campaign has started." Unbelievable, you know? And that's when the chairman of the Rules Committee again, Jim McGovern, he comes out and he says, well, are you willing, he says, I've asked this question several times now, are you willing to publicly say in front of the American people that Joe Biden won the election fair and square? You think Jim Jordan said yeah? No, he didn't say that. Well, we know he's going to be president. Unbelievable. I don't know. I don't know what the future of the Republican Party is. I mean, personally, it can all fall to pieces as far as I'm concerned. This week has been some week, I'll tell you. Unbelievable. And it's interesting, Jamie Raskin, he's a Democrat from Maryland, he made sure he entered into the record, he asked him to enter into the record how many times the courts rejected Trump's election assertions. I understand it was 3, it might be more, with, you know, if he went through lower courts, but I think with the Supreme Court now, I'm not sure on this, I think it was at least twice, but I know they rejected it the first time. But in any event, he went through the judicial system, they rejected it. I mean, facts are facts, the numbers speak for themselves. So, as much as Donald Trump wants to turn the election around, the big deal happened on January the 6th. And that's when that big invasion, I call it, hit the Capitol. But that was the official. And thank God our democracy is strong. You know? I mean, the Congress people could have said, oh, we'll wait till tomorrow. But no. They stayed because the Constitution does require that they finish this on the 6th of January But they stayed in light of the circumstances. They came back later, and then they voted officially. They tallied the votes, and the Joe Biden won. So the Electoral College was made official, and I don't know what it is with Donald's minions, but he just feels that, well, they could, they have that chance, they can overturn it. And I think the only way that they thought that they could do it is by force. And it was scary because they had the upper hand there for a bit. I mean, you're talking one line of Washington policemen. I don't know if it was the Capitol Police, and I don't know if the Washington police were helping them too. I know the Capitol Police, one line, okay, faced against at least 30,000, might have been 33,000 protesters or insurrectionists is what I'd rather call them, because that's what they were doing. And eventually they got pushed, and they rushed the Capitol and went in and caused all the damage they could. And, it's coming out today that Mike Pence, they found out, was only about 100 feet or less away from these radicals. But there was one heroic cop, I think he was a Capitol policeman, whatever. He somehow got these radicals to pursue him. He went up the steps and kind of led them away from where Mike Pence really was. Mike Pence doesn't realize how close he was to getting his ass killed. That's how quick Donald Trump's base turned against him. Because Pence didn't overturn the elections. Well, Pence doesn't have that authority. That goes to show you how much education or lack thereof the minions of Donald Trump have when it comes to the Constitution. I have a funny feeling these people didn't pay attention in history class when they were going to school. That's if they went to school. Probably a lot of them didn't even graduate, but that's a whole other story. But anyway, this past Wednesday came and Donald Trump was impeached for the second time. So Nancy Pelosi is supposed to send the articles of impeachment to the Senate sometime next week. It'll probably going to be after the inauguration. But I'll tell you what a hell of a week. We had one hell of a week. But listen, people, don't ever give up. Don't be disheartened. Because the truth will last. The truth will prevail. And democracy reigns. No matter what these idiots, these assholes try to do. Our country will prevail. Never give up. Be vigilant. I'll tell you, I'm so proud of all my fellow Americans that stood up, went out to vote in November, and made that ultimate choice to get this orange-haired asshole out of our house. It was the biggest mistake that ever happened. I'm just so glad that Trump and his minions were voted out, because could you imagine had he won a second term? I can't imagine where our country would be today. That's another thing reminds me. I just heard on the news tonight that, do you remember how Donald Trump was saying, oh, we have reserves for the COVID-19 vaccine? You have all these reserves. Guess what, people? It came on the news. He didn't have any reserves. He lied to us, the American people. So now there's going to be a big scramble. That's why Joe Biden, he's going to get this under control. I am so glad he's going to get this under control. and he's going to get this vaccine put out. This is what Donald Trump did to us, people. He lied. How could anybody support this idiot? He lied. Oh, it's going to go away. Oh, it's like, when April comes, the heat will just go away. And then he decided, oh, well, maybe we can put bleach in our bodies, inject it in somehow, or unbelievable. Put a light bulb up our ass. Who knows? But I tell you, I cannot understand why anybody would want this idiot to be put back in office for another 4 years. Our country would be done for. But thank God for my fellow Blue Dot family members and for everybody that loves freedom that goes for the democratic way. They voted, they used their voices, they went out and voted and got this asshole out of office. Now the next, I guess you got 5 days left. It's going to be an interesting show, people. They've got very heavy security in Washington. I was going to go to this event, but between the COVID, why? If this wouldn't have happened, I probably would stay home anyway, because it's not worth risking your health. The last inauguration I ever went to see was Bill Clinton. I'm not sure if it was I think it was his first time in office. I went down to Washington and stayed in a hotel overnight, and I went to see Bill Clinton being inaugurated. And that was a big crowd. That mall is massive. But to see it today on TV with the high fences, I think they're like 8 foot high or more. I mean, if somebody tries to go in and start trouble now, I would pity them, because there's at least 25,000 National Guard troops there. And if anybody decides to cause a problem, I pity their ass. So I have a feeling we're going to make it through all right with the inauguration, but we're hearing all these rumors right now. The best thing to do is, watch it from home, and let's give our best for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. They're going to need our support these next few months, or at least the next few months, first 100 days or so. He's moving on ahead a lot better than Trump ever would. Trump, he denied about COVID, and then it was like he never never did anything about it. He never enforced mask wearing. He pretended like it didn't exist. But I'm confident we're in good hands now with the soon-to-be inaugurated Joe Biden as president. So, anyway, that's about all I have for tonight. Let's just keep alert. They may also they have a high alert for all the state capitals, every single one of the 50 states. So if you live near the state capitals, don't go there. It's not worth it. Just stay at home. We'll watch the inauguration on television. And let's just hope these days pass, that we don't have any violence or killings or whatever. But in any event, you have a good weekend. Thanks for taking the time to watch my rant. You can find me on YouTube as John I Fly, and that's all small case. Johni, F as in Frank, L as in love, Y. Or on Facebook under my real name, John Unell. So, take care of yourself. Remember, wash your hands, wear your mask, and social distance. And hopefully I'll get this second vaccine taken care of. I'm waiting on my doctors to give me my first vaccine. So We're gonna make it through. We just gotta pull together, people. All right. Well, you take care. Thanks for taking the time to listen to me, and until the next rant, I'll talk to you soon. Be safe. I love you all. Stay true. Stay together. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.